You got to kiss an angel good morning and let her know you think about her when you're gone. The words carried more than just melody. They carried a spirit that defined the man who sang them. Charlie Pride's name wasn't just whispered on dusty baseball fields where he once dreamed of glory. It thundered across the heart of country music, rewriting history one note at a time. He was a man who broke barriers, stood shoulder to shoulder with Elvis Presley, and built a career in a world that had never opened its doors to someone who looked like him. But behind the applause and flashing lights, Charlie carried a weight that most fans never knew. He had chased one dream only to see it shatter. And then, against all odds, he embraced another that carried him further than he ever imagined. Even as the world celebrated him, the wounds of rejection never fully healed. In his final days, with the clock winding down, Charlie Pride shared a secret revelation so shocking it left the world stunned. His story was not just that of a country singer. It was the story of a boy who picked cotton with blistered hands, of a man traded for a used bus, and of an icon whose last words revealed the pain behind his triumph. Charlie Frank Pride entered the world on March 18, 1938, in Sledge, Mississippi, the fourth of 11 children born to sharecroppers Tessie and Fowler MacArthur Pride. His father chose the name Charles, but when the midwife mistakenly wrote Charlie on the birth certificate, it became permanent. His childhood was marked by poverty and the harsh realities of segregation. Days were spent under the searing sun, dragging cotton sacks across endless fields, hands raw and calloused. Yet even as he bent his back to labor, Charlie's mind wandered to places beyond Mississippi. He dreamed of freedom, of greatness, of escaping the life that bound his parents. That dream was not music, it was baseball. The crack of a bat, the roar of a small-town crowd, the smell of the field. Those things made him feel alive. Baseball consumed him, though music lingered quietly in the background. At night, he sat with his father by the Philco radio, listening to Hank Williams and the Grand Ole Opry. At 14, he bought a Sears Silvertone guitar with money saved from picking cotton and taught himself to play under the Mississippi Stars. Still, baseball's pull was stronger. By 16, he left school to chase his dream on the diamond. In 1952, he joined the Memphis Red Sox of the Negro American League as a pitcher. A year later, his dream seemed to come true when the New York Yankees signed him to their Class C farm team in Boise. But destiny turned cruel. A shoulder injury robbed him of his fastball, and with it, the future he had envisioned. Reassigned to lower levels, his arm failed him again. Soon, he was cut. For a time, he drifted from team to team, clinging desperately to the sport. Then came the humiliation that seared his soul. Alongside teammate Jesse Mitchell, he was traded not for another player, not even for money, but for a used bus. The sting of being valued less than machinery crushed him. Many men would have quit, but Charlie's pride drove him to fight harder. For 3 years, he clawed his way back, and by 1956, he had returned to the Red Sox, tougher and sharper. That season, he won 14 games and earned a spot on the Negro American League All-Star team. Facing legends like Willie Mays and Hank Aaron in exhibition matches, he delivered a performance that stunned everyone. 4 shutout innings against the major leaguers, earning MVP honors. For a fleeting moment, it seemed the majors were within reach again. But fate struck another blow when a cracked elbow bone sidelined him. Refusing defeat, he reinvented himself as a knuckleball pitcher, proving his resilience. But just as he rebuilt momentum, Uncle Sam came calling. In 1956, Charlie was drafted into the U.S. Army. Basic training was grueling, but he soon found refuge in the Army's baseball leagues. Playing at Fort Carson, Colorado, he revived his spirit, leading his team to championships. It was during this time he met Rosine, the woman who would become his wife and lifelong partner. Their love anchored him, and in 1956 they married, building a family that would eventually include 3 children. When discharged in 1958, Charlie returned to the Red Sox, hoping once more to chase his baseball dream. But the years of injuries lingered. He managed brief stints with the Missoula Timberjacks and tryouts with the Los Angeles Angels and New York Mets, but his arm could no longer keep pace. Slowly, painfully, he began to accept that baseball, the dream of his youth, was slipping away for good. Still unwilling to abandon the sport entirely, Charlie moved to Helena, Montana, where he worked construction by day and played semi-pro ball at night for the East Helena Smelterites. He also found work at a smelter that hired athletes and scheduled shifts around games. There, amidst the grit and danger of molten lead, Charlie's voice became a source of light. His co-workers heard him singing above the machinery, a deep, resonant baritone that made them pause. At one game, when the scheduled singer failed to appear for the national anthem, Charlie stepped forward. His voice silenced the stadium, leaving the crowd in awe. Word spread quickly. The smelter had a singer. At first, Charlie saw music as nothing more than a hobby. But with each performance, something stirred inside him. The memory of nights spent with his father listening to the Grand Ole Opry returned. Music, quietly waiting in the wings, began to step into the spotlight. Through friends and connections, Charlie's voice reached Nashville. Manager Jack Johnson heard potential, and soon cowboy Jack Clement recorded demo tracks. RCA legend Chet Atkins listened and decided color didn't matter. The voice was too powerful to ignore. In 1966, Charlie Pride signed with RCA Records. Still, the label feared backlash, so his first singles were released without a photo. The first 2 songs failed, but Just Between You and Me finally broke into the top 10. His first major concert in Detroit's Olympia Stadium tested everything. 10,000 fans waited to see the man behind the voice. When Charlie walked out, the room froze. He broke the silence with humor. Friends, I realize it's a little unique. Me coming out here with a permanent suntan to sing country and western for you. But that's the way it is. Laughter rippled, and then he sang. By the end, the crowd was his. From there, history unfolded. In 1967, he performed on the Grand Ole Opry stage, becoming the first black artist to do so in decades. RCA poured out records, and Charlie's voice soared across America. He notched 52 chart hits, including 30 number ones. His albums outsold even Elvis Presley and John Denver on RCA's country roster. In 1971, he was crowned CMA Entertainer of the Year, followed by Grammys and accolades. His signature song, Kiss an Angel Good Morning, became a cultural anthem, etching his place as a country music giant. What made it more remarkable was how he won over audiences through music, humility, and grace. He never demanded acceptance, he earned it. By the late 1970s and 80s, Charlie Pride was no longer just a singer. He was an institution. He was invited to the White House, honored with awards, and celebrated worldwide. Yet the shadow of baseball never left him. Watching games, he still whispered to himself, "That could have been me." Music gave him everything: fame, fortune, legacy, but part of his heart always remained on the diamond. On December 12, 2020, the world lost Charlie Pride to complications from COVID-19. Just weeks before, he had graced the CMA Awards, receiving the Willie Nelson Lifetime Achievement Award. His voice still strong, his presence still radiant. His passing shook the world. Tributes poured in, remembering the man who broke barriers and gave country music one of its purest voices. But in his final days, Charlie left behind a revelation he asked his wife Rosine to share. He confessed that despite all his fame, he often felt like an imposter. Baseball had scarred him too deeply. Being traded for a bus, being cut, watching his dream dissolve, those wounds never healed. Even at the height of his music career, when crowds roared and awards piled up, he doubted he deserved it. He sometimes believed it was all a mistake. Deep down, his heart never fully left the pitcher's mound. Yet he also knew that fate had steered him where he needed to be. "Baseball broke my heart," he admitted, "but music healed it." Those words became his final truth. Charlie Pride's story is one of resilience. He was the boy from the cotton fields, the ball player traded for a bus, the man who became the first black superstar of country music. His life proved that dreams don't die, they transform. Though one dream slipped away, another rose to reveal his true purpose. He gave the world more than music. He gave it courage, dignity, and proof that barriers can be broken. His voice may be gone, but his legacy continues to echo, reminding every dreamer that sometimes the path you're meant to walk is not the one you first imagined, but the one that reveals who you truly are.